Soul Calibur 5.
My first review of the new year is the latest in a fighting game franchise, Soul Calibur 5. Story-wise, the game takes place 17 years after the fourth game. The story focuses on Sophidia's children, Patroclus and Pyrrha. You mostly play as Patroclus on his quest to find and save his sister. He is eventually handed Soul Calibur because plot convenience, and Pyrrha gets Soul Edge for the same reason. So the only characters you ever really play as in story mode are Patroclus and Pyrrha, and also Zwei for about 2 fights since he's one of the 2 new characters. The story overall is very, very weak. It took me all of an hour and a half to breeze through it and get the very unsatisfying ending. Also, one of the first things you'll notice is that a lot of the characters were replaced or just thrown out. They explain why Sophidia is absent, but no one else. There is no explanation given as to why fan favorites were left out. At all. Feels kind of insulting, huh? But I'll get back to that later. The core engine seems to have been tweaked to make the overall gameplay faster. Outside of that, it's mostly unchanged from the fourth game, save for one crucial thing: the movesets. The movesets in this game are tiny. It seems like most of the characters have had at least half of their moves removed. It's really annoying trying to do a move from memory only to find that it no longer exists. And when playing offline, I hope you don't like changing the difficulty, because outside of arcade mode, you can't. Would have been nice if I could have raised story mode's difficulty to make it artificially last longer. Also, every fight is best of 3. No option to make it 2 or 1 like you could in previous games. You also can't pick the time limit. Then there's the game modes. You may remember 4 had a good amount of things to do. 5, however, has story mode, training, quick battle, arcade, versus, and create a soul. That means no tower, no museum, and characters don't even have their own story. Thanks to the story part, that's well over half of the single-player gameplay completely removed. Oh, and the characters besides Sophidia's kids that show up in story are nothing more than bit players. As for the online versus, it's pretty typical of any online fighter. Servers are pretty stable and have low latency, although character balance is a complete joke. Just be Nightmare, and you'll easily win every battle without trying. In past games, you'd be able to counter him with a fast character like Talum, but here there is no Talum. And thanks to a speed boost, not even fake Taki stands much of a chance against a decent Nightmare player. As you can see, the graphics are quite good. Or they were when Soul Calibur 4 came out, since they're exactly the same for the returning characters. And the new characters are just the ones they replaced with new faces and slightly altered outfits. Though, to their credit, they did make new arenas, and unsurprisingly, there are less of them than in previous titles. The music, though, is actually new, and it's pretty good. At least they put effort somewhere. Which brings me to Create a Soul mode. Character creation is one of my favorite parts of any game, and here it's actually improved over 4. In fact, it basically is 4's, but with more options. Now you can change height and proportions individually, and there are more clothing options. Moveset, however, is still tied to the weapon you choose. There's also an accessory option that lets you pick and choose where certain parts go. So, unlike most other things in this game, I actually liked the Create a Soul mode. Like I mentioned earlier, most of the characters were either replaced or completely removed, and the explanation for their absence? outside of Sophia, who was killed off between games, absolutely no reason is given. And it's not like these were just ancillary characters. Taki, Zhanghua, and Cassandra are among the ones replaced without even a clue as to what happened to them, though Ivy and her ever-expanding breasts are still here, as the Japanese ad will gladly remind you. So, with most of the characters, game modes, and even basic options completely removed, this game is just flat out lazy. It even makes Broken Destiny and Legends look like they took effort by comparison. Even if online play is the most important aspect to you, your best bet is to just keep playing the fourth game. This game was just a blatant, insulting fuck you to the fan base, and I recommend avoiding this piece of crap.
Fight!